One thing that clients ask about EB-5 when they inquire about the EB-5 visa is, what are my chances of getting approval? If you've looked at the recent statistics, it's a little bit scary. Again, my name's Charles Rather, managing partner at AmLaw Group, where we've been doing immigrant and investor immigration to the U.S. for more than 15 years. So we have more than adequate experience in advising clients on these types of issues. So getting back to the topic of today's video, how to deal with the denial rates for EB-5, and are those really bad statistical numbers really true that you see online? I haven't looked at the most recent numbers, but I have noticed definitely over the last year or so that there's definitely been an uptick in the number of denials for EB-5 cases. And I'm a little bit puzzled by that because from our own personal practice, I'm happy to say that that is not reflected in our practice. We've had probably over the last 15 years, at most 5 denials. Several of those denials were based on the fact that the clients had selected poor projects, that just the projects themselves were the cause of the denial. So if we don't even include those, in our practice of 15 years, we've maybe had 2 denials. And again, even in those cases, there were particular circumstances involved that generally don't apply to most people. So I'm very happy to say these negative upward trends of denials for EB-5 do not affect us or our practice, and I'm very proud of our team that we have maintained that level of approval rates that we've had in the past. So what explains this uptick? Well, certainly USCIS has gotten more demanding and picky in their review process of EB-5 petitions. We see them demanding more and more documentation. I would say sometimes those demands are ridiculous and have no basis in law, but you have to kind of go with the flow, because if you want to sit and argue with USCIS, you might put your client's case at risk and just create bigger problems. So the policy generally is to accede to their demands or their requests, provide them with what they want, and go from there. So we've generally been successful by and large in doing and following that policy, but we've definitely noticed that they are becoming more and more demanding in terms of the documentation they want, and digging deeper and deeper into details that really they shouldn't be asking about. So again, if you have clients, or if there's other attorneys that have clients that they don't have the depth of experience that we do with EB-5, they might not know how to best respond to those requests. Secondly, I would say over the last couple of years, maybe this trend is changing, but you had a lot of inexperienced lawyers starting to get involved with EB-5. They saw the trends, they saw the people applying for EB-5 visas, and they thought, hey, I'd like a piece of that action as well. The thing is that you really need to have, I would say, at least more than 5 years of experience with EB-5 before you could really consider yourself an expert or an experienced practitioner with EB-5. As I mentioned, we've been doing EB-5s for about 15 years now. So we've had more than adequate time to hone our skills and see exactly how USCIS reacts to our arguments. Why do I say 5 years? Just because historically it's been taking recently maybe 4 or 5 years to get the approvals through. So if you had a new attorney, let's say in 2018, filing his or her first EB-5 petitions, it might only be 2023 or 2024 when that attorney is getting feedback from USCIS, whether the paperwork was all in order, whether they proved the source of funds and provided all the necessary information. So you might have had this attorney filing petitions the last 3, 4, 5 years without even knowing whether he or she was doing things correctly and meeting the standards. And I have to say, I'm oftentimes shocked by the work of other attorneys when some clients come to us when they're maybe a little bit disappointed or disillusioned with the work of their former attorney. They come to us for a second opinion, and I sometimes see what these other attorneys have prepared, and I am a bit shocked, quite honestly, and I can see the lack of experience that some of these attorneys have had. So I think this also has a role in the increased number of denials that we are currently seeing. So if you want to work with or consider the EB-5 program, I think it's just as important to pick not only a reliable and safe project and select a reliable regional center, but also carefully select an attorney who has significant experience, not in immigration writ large, but specifically in EB-5, because it really is a very unique and very unique and unusual practice area visa category that is unlike any other visa. And I think, again, this is somewhat explaining some of the increases that you're seeing for the denials. If you really are interested in following the EB-5 path and feel like you might meet the general criteria, feel free to reach out to us. You can leave commentaries below or your questions. Better yet, subscribe to our channel. And if this video was helpful to you, please leave a like. It always helps us. And better yet, to help yourselves, reach out to us for a consultation where we can discuss the details of your future transition to the U.S.